Guck, die Zeichen, das sind so ganz Basic-Zeichen. Mit denen kannst du dann wahrscheinlich die komplexere Zeichnung zusammensetzen.
机会哦，也是因为透过小鱼老师哈，可以在我们这里举办凯城国际创意竞赛，邀请到德国跟瑞士的评审，那才有机会在我们的这个讲座课程呢来办这场演讲。那我先了解一下哦，上次其实去年有听过我们评审演讲，请举手。哎，现场没有啊？哦，OK，那还蛮好的。我一直以为你们有吧？我记得你们有，你就忘记了。对啊，因为有一些同学去年是有参，对，应该是有，但是全忘了。哦，好，没有关系。但是我觉得就是很重要一点就是呢，我们国际评审很乐意来分享他的一些的成为创业员的这个经验。那我相信这个部分呢，其实会对于我们在学的这个同学们呢，其实会有很大的一个帮助，因为毕竟人家已经走过了，然后提前告诉你这些的一些技巧跟想法的时候呢，那我觉得就是可以节省蛮多的一个时间的哦。好，那所以在这个部分的话，我们今天小鱼老师呢，其实我非常感谢他，因为小鱼老师还要现场还要担任同学的即时翻译，对，所以就是同学如果英文觉得自己英文不够好的话，也不用太担心。好，OK， 好，那我们是把主持棒先交给小鱼老师，我们先热烈欢迎小鱼老师。来，对。
I kind of moderating. OK， 今天的那个机会当然是非常难得，因为我们其实是占用评审自己的旅游行程，我们现在是没有付他们钱，也没有付他们的旅馆，所以为什么会这么仓促的安排？其实是因为他们表示愿意，但是我们本来不敢邀请他们，因为我们现在是没有支付他们任何费用，也没有，甚至连旅馆都没有付这样。对，但是他们就是说，很愿意像去年一样，就是跟同学进行一个讲座，所以我们才临时就是非常仓促，而且刚好主导的这个讲座课也可以，所以也算是因缘巧合啦。对，那今天就是等一下我会做一些翻译，但是因为我昨天看了他们这个讲稿的内容非常的简短，我也不知道他们要讲什么。对，所以等一下如果我那个忽然进入脑死状态，后面专业组的帮我一下。OK， 那首先我们就以热烈掌声欢迎我们的评审 Toby 跟 Sandra。
你好 ，Thank you guys. Yeah, hi. Thanks for inviting us. We're happy to be here, and our talk, Things I Wish I Was Told When I Was Young. So we thought, as a creative, when you start your career, you're often thrown into cold water, and you have to figure things out yourself. And we thought it might be interesting if we just share a bit of the things that we had to learn the hard way, and maybe it will be a bit easier for you, or you can find some inspiration in what we did in the past.
今天的题目是真希望年轻的时候就有人告诉我们的事，因为他们自己觉得就是其实你如果进入创意产业啊，就有点像把你扔到那个比如说冷水，反正总之就把你扔到水里面。其实我们这一行就是这样，你被扔进去之后，很多都要自己学习。那他们也经历了非常的，就是有很多好的或不好的经验，痛苦的学到了很多很重要的事。所以今天就是借这个机会跟大家分享。
Yeah, so we are Sandro and I'm Toby. We are both creative directors from Germany, and we've been working together in a big advertising agency, and now we're freelancing. And yeah, we'd like to show you one of the projects that we did, so that you get an idea what we've done in the past.
Yeah, hey, nice to be here. Yeah, as Toby said, we worked together for 5 years. So in that time, you know each other pretty well, especially if you have to discuss a lot of ideas and discuss and brainstorm about the creative part of our industry.
首先那个 Toby 跟 Sandra 他们两个现在都是在德国，不过其实大家如果看到他们就是简介的话 ，Toby 是德国人，那 Sandra 其实是瑞士人，然后他们在一起合作已经5年了。之前他们在去年他们来的时候，他们还在一家很大的广告公司，但是因为他们在去年在台湾的时候就一直碎碎念说想要回去之后想要就是自由接案， 结果到了11月的时候，他们就宣布说他们现在自由接案，他们现在就是 freelancer。那 Toby 刚刚有说，就是首先他会给我们看，有些人也许忘记了，就是为什么我们会邀请他们来。对，所以我们先会看一下他们最著名的、最得非常多奖的一件作品。我们一起看一下个案影片。我going to show the case video.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, let's dive right into the Uncensored Library project we did in 2020.
Whoa! Look at this. What a build, dude.
Look at this map.
What is this?
What could get young people this excited about press freedom? Reporters Without Borders presents the Uncensored Library. Millions of young people grow up in countries with online censorship, but Minecraft, one of the biggest games in the world, is freely accessible where other media is blocked. Acclaimed independent journalists publish their censored articles as uncensored books directly in Minecraft.
We need to inform young people about the real political situation in the world.
Block by block, a giant library was built, a digital monument for press freedom. And for the first time ever, a game became a loophole to bypass censorship. On World Day Against Cyber Censorship, the library opened its doors along with a campaign highlighting the purpose behind the project. And big gaming influencers picked it up.
So those articles have been transposed into books that are readable in Minecraft.
I've seen some wild and crazy things in this game, but this one might actually take the cake.
Today we're looking at the Uncensored Library.
And it took the community by storm.
Holy crap!
Reaching millions of gamers, many from countries with censorship.
COVID-19 press censorship. They have an entire hallway.
But the library went beyond the game and made the news all over the world. It even became an educational tool in schools and universities. And donations for Reporters Without Borders went through the roof. The library will stay open and more uncensored articles are being added to give young people a powerful tool to fight oppression. The truth.
The only real way of fighting censorship is sharing and spreading what is being censored.
Thank you. So, who's playing Minecraft? Anyone? Minecraft players? Yeah, see a few. Very good. Yeah, so we did this a while ago, and then afterwards, a lot of people asked us, so how do you do it? How do you make a project like this? How do you have an idea like this? How do you execute it? How do you go through with it? So to give you a bit of a better idea, what you can do to get your creative results on the next level, yes, we've prepared this presentation.
这个是在2020年推出的作品啊。那刚刚他有问大家，就是谁有在玩那个文的世界，那也还蛮多人在玩的。那作品推出一阵子，就是其实得了很多奖，那大家都就是非常有兴趣，到底是就是大家应该最想了解，就是我要怎么样才能够做出像这样的作品？为了要帮助大家就是成为能够做出这样作品的创意人，所以他们准备了今天的这个讲座的内容。
So first of all, when I was a young creative and I had to come up with an idea, I wanted to dive right in. I wanted to go straight to coming up with ideas, straight into designing something, creating something. And I never really thought much about what is the problem or what is the underlying task that I'm trying to solve here. So yeah, first I want to talk about the problem.
就是年轻人，像他们自己年轻的时候也是一样。那就是当你们刚开始做创意的时候啊，最容易发生的状况就是，我就这样直接开始想 idea 了，然后我不会去思考，就是其实我现在想要解决的是什么样的问题，然后这个问题隐含的这些任务是什么。
So I found this quote from a German, Einstein. If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about a solution.
这是一个非常有名的德国人，你们可能都知道。
They can read it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
对他的come back。那他的名言就是，如果他有1小时解决问题，他会花55分钟思考问题，然后只有花5分钟，最后才会思考解决方案。
Great. So most very good ideas are often a solution to very good problems. So when you when we do communication, when we do design, when we are often trying to communicate something or solving a communications problem in a broader sense. So if you have a better understanding of the problem that you're trying to solve, you can also find a better and smarter solution to it.
我们看到的非常好的这些创意想法，通常是对于非常好的问题的非常好的解决方案。所以，如果你们能够就是对问题有更好的了解的话，你的 idea 就会更好。
And many problems actually. So first of all, understanding what is what exactly is the overarching problem that you're solving, and sometimes you might find that the problem that is the obvious problem at hand is not the actual real problem that you're trying to solve. And then sometimes there's also problems within the problem where you find that I first have to solve a smaller problem in order to get to solving the bigger problem.
就是其实问题它的这个层次啊，往往都是其实是非常丰富的，而且常常最明显的问题并不是真正的问题。我们要找到的是问题背后的问题。那有的时候我们必须先解决一些小问题，才能够解决后面那个真正的问题。
For example, for Kanyang Lions, the briefing was to get cats and dogs adopted from pet shelters, which is the overarching problem. And then one of the teams, for example, found an interesting problem within the problem where they said, okay, but people don't really get to the pet shelters in the first place because they're too far outside of the city. So in order to solve the bigger problem, we have to solve this the problem within the problem, which means getting people to the pet shelter in the first place. And then within this insight of a problem comes a more interesting solution that then actually also works.
就以这次就是 Young Lions 的这个题目来说，其实我们主要的大问题是，要就是收养那个流浪的猫跟狗，但是它里面就是问题里面的那个问题就是比较小的问题是，就是现在大家都很难去到收容所，因为收容所可能太远了，所以就变成说，如果你能够对于这个小的问题有很好的 insight 的话，你才能够就是很好的洞察，你才能够找到真正的解决方案。
Then when you do your research about a problem or about a situation, it's also interesting to think about the science about it. What is interesting studies? What can you find with your research? What really is the truth about it? Sometimes we have a very rough idea about the problem, and then you find some studies that say that there's actually a new approach or new scientific findings about the problem that would also make you understand the problem in a better, more in-depth way.
就是当我们在想 idea 的时候，第一步我们可以去看问题的科学是什么。就是我们可能对某个问题有一个比较粗浅的，或者是一个比较粗的解决方案，就是一个想法。但是事实上，这个时候如果我们去找一些有没有有趣的研究或是调查，它不但有可能会帮助我们找到新的解决方案，事实上有时候可以帮助我们更了解问题。
So yeah, really dig in there, try to find studies, try to find articles, try to find more knowledge about the problem that you're trying to solve. And you can also use AI for this. For example, if you find 150 links online to a problem that would take 2 days to read all of them, just like copy them all into an AI and tell them, hey, try to find me some core findings of these articles, or what are the insights from these articles. So you can also speed this up and go through a lot of information and try to find insights.
在这个过程中间呢，我们就是希望找到新的解决方案，或是就是更多的知识，让我们帮助我们更了解问题。然后呢，其实现在 AI 很流行啊，我们其实可以用 AI 来加速，就是帮我们做这个作业。比如说我们在网络上找到150个，我们觉得好像有好像可以利用的，好像就是里面有点东西的这个网页，我们可以把这些 link 叫 AI 去读，然后叫 AI 告诉我们，你的就是从这个中间。你找到哪些核心的就是认知和洞察，这样可以加速我们在这个阶段过程。
And then I also like interviews or talking to people. There's whenever you have to solve a problem, or especially in advertising, you constantly have to solve different problems from different industries, from different companies, and you can never really be an expert in it. I mean, and also within the short time you have, you can also never really research that much as someone who really works in this field or is an expert. So really try to find someone that you can ask. Maybe it's the client themselves or an expert. That yeah, you can just ask a bunch of questions and try to really like find some background knowledge.
那第二个不就是特别他们自己很喜欢使用的方式，其实就是访谈。因为其实如果你成为创意人，那这是你的工作的话，你常常都要解决不同产业、不同公司的问题。那而且要在很短的时间内，在这些时间内，就是你是没有办法很快的成为专家。那你甚至不够有时间，就是去读完所有的研究。那这个时候呢，其实访谈是一个很有效的方式，就是去问每个行业的专家，然后请他们就是告诉你什么是重要的事情。
An interesting example, for example, is an advertising. I think it was a copywriter went to a Mercedes car factory and asked the guy that is responsible for spare parts, and he wanted to know what is the one part that breaks the most of a Mercedes. What is the one spare part that breaks the most? And maybe we can change it, or maybe we can make a campaign about it.
有一个很有名的故事，就是说，比如说举例，就是有一个广告文案，就是广告公司里面有那个 copywriter， 然后他可能去工厂，在我们很有名的就是说我们要去做工厂之旅，然后他在工厂之旅的时候，他就问那个线上的工人，就是说，在汽车的零件中间哪一个是最重要的？其实也许你找到这个知识，你就可以根据这个变成你的洞察，然后你可以创作一个个案。
And then the guy was just looking around, and he looked in all his boxes, and he said, and then eventually said, like, actually, the one thing that by far breaks the most is the little star that's on top of the Mercedes. Back then it was still on top, and I thought it was such a good insight that a Mercedes is built so well that nothing ever breaks except the star that's on the top outside. That they made a campaign about it, but he would have never gotten the idea or gotten that insight without asking the guy at the factory.
OK， 修正刚刚的翻译哦，因为我刚刚都有听到前面，就是有个故事，就是说有一个文案他去工厂，那我们去工厂之旅的时候呢，那他就刚开始的时候，他其实是一直在问那些工人说，我们这些零件中间就哪一个是最容易坏掉的？因为他想要从这个最容易坏掉的这个零件中间，或者就是想要做一个个案，根据这个洞察。但是事实上呢，那个他看到旁边有一堆盒子，然后那个工人跟他讲说，其实零件都没有坏，最容易坏其实就是那个宾士车上面那个星，就是那个星星，就那个 logo， 就是零件根本就不会坏，只有那个 logo 会坏。于是他就根据这个洞察做出了非常有趣的这个个案。但是如果说你没有进行工厂之旅，就是你没有到那里去问线上的人的话，你是不可能获得像这样的知识的。
Great. So yeah, go out there, talk to people.
所以很重要就是要去跟人们谈一谈。
So now, and only now, after, if you have as much time as you want, really spend days, maybe even weeks, if you can, with research and trying to find the truth about the problem. Because yeah, if you really have the truth about the problem, then you can find a more unique insight and a much more unique idea about it.
就是我们在想创意想法的时候，其实我们真的是需要花时间去找到，就是所谓的真相，因为这些真相可以从中间找到很独特的洞察。
And now we come to the idea part, why you're all here. Like in advertising, a copywriter, when I was still studying, he said in advertising, the coin, the money, the currency is ideas. So yeah, if you really know how to find ideas, if you really know how to work that currency, then you can make a great career.
他之前有一个就是是同学还是什么的，就是他曾经讲过，就是说你要做创意这一行的话，我们创意这一行最重要的货币其实就是创意的 idea。就是如果你很会想 idea 的话，基本上这一行就没有问题了，就拥有很多我们这一行的通货。
But yeah, the big question, how to have a good idea. So first of all, whenever it comes to starting with thinking up an idea, what a lot of creatives are facing is creative procrastination. So the question is, why are we so scared to start the creative process?
但这行不管是谁都一样哦，就是开始想 idea 的时候，大家都会就是面临恐惧，然后会开始拖延，然后这个最大的问题就是为什么我会那么害怕开始想创意呢？
And yeah, a little spoiler, I have to disappoint you, it never goes away. So yeah, every time I have to find an idea, I'm still finding myself with creative procrastinating. Sandra knows it as well. Yeah, the reason why we are scared to start finding an idea is because we are scared that we might not have an idea, that we might not find an idea.
跟各位报告一个好消息哦，就是或者坏消息，就是不管你在这行业多久啊，事实上那个创意拖延症永远都不会解决哦，你永远都会就是你永远都不会好，你永远都会害怕开始想创意，对。
And somehow in this industry, it is often still the belief that an idea comes from some eureka moment, from some creative genius enlightenment. So you cannot really plan it. It's just suddenly there, and no one really knows where it comes from or how it happened.
那这是因为大家都会害怕，就是想不出 idea。那其实这是一个迷思哦，就是在我们这行很多人都会认为说，哦，就是那些真的很聪明那些创意天才，然后他们就是才能够想出好的 idea， 就是能不能想 idea 这件事情，它是不能学、不能计划的。
And because we are creatives, we kind of identify ourselves with the ability to be able to have a creative idea. So the fear of failure, the fear of not having an idea, it basically is almost like an existential crisis, because you're then questioning your whole identity as a creative when you're not being able to have good ideas, and this then really blocks you or freezes you, and you procrastinate even more because you don't want to have that. You don't want to face this truth of not being able to have an idea.
但为什么会这样？就是为什么会有这个创意拖延症？那其实来自于恐惧。那为什么会有这些恐惧呢？因为当我们就是身在创意产业的时候，我们的自我认同就是，我是一个创意人。那其实我们就会害怕失败，会害怕想不出好的 idea。那这其实是一种自我认同的延伸所造成的障碍，因为我们会认为，如果我想不出这个 idea 的话，我就不再是创意人了。那这样子的恐惧会造成我们的障碍，也会造成我们不愿意面对就是想 idea 的这件事情。
And the more we procrastinate, the more we're running out of time. And when we don't have time left, then we cannot come up with an idea. And then the whole thing kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we don't come up with a good idea. And the next time we are even more scared and we procrastinate even more.
但因为我们一直拖延啊，我们时间就会越用越少啊。就像我给你们3个月，然后你们都要拖到最后才要交稿。I just added on some my personal comments. 对 I haven't finished it. 到最后 I was complaining, just like we gave you almost 4 months and you still deliver your project at the last minute. Anyway, so 然后那个到最后就会变成一种自我实现的预言，就是因为我都把我的时间拖延掉，然后我想创业的时间越来越少，然后最后我就想不出来，然后我就证明了，我就是一个不好的创意人。
Well, usually we started the process when the accountant was standing next to us a bit with a red hat, asking us, "Where's the ideas? I need them now."
但他们其实也一样，他们在公司里面的时候，就是其实他们真的开始想创业的时候，往往都是那个公司那个业务，然后就是有点愤怒的站在旁边，然后问说我的 idea 在哪里的时候，他们才开始想，就跟大家都一样。
So how do we break this creative procrastination? And I think one of the main issues is that when we sit down, and the more important the project is, the more important the outcome needs to be, the more creative procrastination we do, because we are even more scared that we not manage to achieve this big task that is in front of us.
Can you say that again? I got lost halfway in your sentence.
So the problem with creative procrastination is that the bigger the task that we need to achieve, the bigger the idea needs to be, the more creative procrastination we do, because the more scared we are that we might fail or that we're not being able to achieve this this idea or this project.
那关于创意拖延症有一个状况，就是当我们面对越大的任务的时候，我们就会越害怕，因为我们就会越觉得我们可能这次就没办法，就是解决，我就会终于想不出创意，终于证明我不是一个创意人了。
So when you see an idea like the Uncensored Library, where you say like, okay, this is a huge project, like a huge idea. If I sit down now, I could never come up with an idea like that, or could never concept an idea like this. And the reason why that is because you can't. Also, I didn't, and Sandro didn't. The Uncensored Library is not one big idea that we had. It was a very, very small idea amongst a lot of small ideas.
比如说像台史查图书馆这个个案，大家刚刚看到，大家会觉得它是一个超级巨大的一个巨型的一个个案。那就算我现在坐下来，然后我也就是开始努力，那我也做不出来。但是这其实也是一个迷思，因为台史查图书馆并不是一个很大的个案，而是很多很多很小的个案，就是聚集在一起。
In fact, we just had a little insight where we said like, okay, in countries with censorship, we know that there's often also a lot of people who play computer games. So it was basically just an idea of a medium where we thought like, maybe we can do something or anything with a computer game. That was just the idea. There was no Minecraft, there was no library, no books, nothing. There was the idea at first was just like one page and it was one sentence. Bypass censorship with a computer game. That's it.
那一刚开始的时候，这个个案其实是从一个非常非常小的洞察开始的。也就是说，即使是在就是有很严厉审查制度的国家，那都还有很多人在玩那个电脑游戏。那能不能用任何方式，就是跟这些玩电玩的人沟通？那刚开始的时候，他们的 idea 就只有就是一页，什么图书馆啊什么啊这些，其实当时都没有出现。当时就是一句话，就是能否使用电脑游戏来绕过审查？
So this is why we wrote, trying to come up with a mind-blowing idea is a bad idea, because this basically just blocks you and you freeze in front of the task. What you have to do is basically quantity above quality. So you don't try to find this mind-blowing big idea. When you sit down, you just try to find any idea, any small idea, any nugget, any insight, any stupid idea is also worth a lot.
所以他这边就是有一个大家看荧幕上写的，就是说，所以为什么要想出一个超赞创意，其实是一个很烂的想法。就是基本上你不要去追求超赞创意，那其实很重要的是，就是你要追求的是 idea 的量，也就是说，你不要想那个一个超赞创意，你要去想很多很多的那个很小的 idea， 任何 idea 就是非常蠢的 idea 是 OK 的。
So when I was still in university and I had to find an idea, I was sitting down and I was thinking a bit back and forth, and as soon as I had something around 10 ideas or so, I was thinking, oh, 10 is already quite a bit. Let me choose one, and then I go through with executing it.
但他自己在大学的时候，当他需要想 idea 的时候，他就很努力的想来想去，最后想10个，他觉得这样很多了，我就要从这10个中间想，就是拿一个来做我的个案。
Now when we're trying to find an idea, we make at least 30, sometimes 50. And I think if you are young and you are still trying to become a good creative, you should probably do something around 100 ideas. And really, it helps if you put yourself this goal. Say like, I'm not going to stop until I reach 100. And this prevents you from falling in love with idea 75 and stopping to find idea 95, which then is really good.
那他们就是他们大学的时候不是想10个就觉得很多嘛？他们现在至少要想30个，甚至是50个。那如果你是一个就是心怀大志的年轻人，以后想要成为很厉害的创意的话，你现在应该至少都要想100个。就是因为这样子一直想，至少要想到100个才要停下来。为什么这样可以让你不会太快就跟就是自己的 idea 谈恋爱？
So instead of finding one big idea, try to find 100 as small, insignificant ideas.
对，就是前面讲过，你的想要变成一个好创意，其实你的这个思考的过程不是去想一个超赞创意，而是去想100个 就是很小很小，很多可能都是很小甚至很蠢的 idea。
So then I already talked about it, the creative genius idea in design, advertising, or in general in the creative world that makes a lot of creatives in general ask question themselves: am I good enough? Are all the other people geniuses, and maybe I'm not a creative genius that just has ideas out of nowhere? Am I good enough to compete with this?
前面已经有提过，就是说，其实我们在对，就是不管是设计啊，或是广告业，我们都会常有这个所谓天才的迷思哦，就是我们认为只有那些天才才能想出很棒的 idea，然后我们就会开始质疑我们自己，就是我够好吗？然后可能我不是创意天才，但我没有办法像他们那样子想很棒的创意。
And the truth is, the best creatives that I met in my career were usually not they were never creative geniuses. I never said, okay, this is genius. It was usually a combination of really hard work and also very important not giving up.
但是他自己在那个行业中，就是这么多年来，他发现的事实就是说，世上好像没有任何一个人真的是一个天才，就是他看到的所有成功的这些创意作品都是。只有2件事，第一个是非常非常的努力，第二是永远都不放弃的人，他就可以做得出很棒的创意。
So yeah, I mean, working really hard is the one part. So trying to find a lot of ideas, trying to really push, trying to go the extra mile. But also very important is to not give up. When you have an idea, when you have a project, it will not take long until someone says, "This is not going to work. Let's not do it." Or it's too expensive, it won't work, or it's just not a good fit. All of this was the case with the Uncensored Library. We were running out of money 5 times, and the client was super scared that a computer game doesn't match their brand. So we really had to fight and fight again and fight again. The idea was dead a couple of times, but we didn't accept it.
那在那个反审查图书馆里面啊，就说这2件事情也是一再发生，他们有5次都把那个预算就是都用掉，必须要就是在追加，然后客户吓得要死，客户就一直说这不行，这好像不太适合我们的品牌。这样，那其实任何的，就是只要你开始做任何有创意的 idea， 你很快就会听到大家说，哦，这个不适合，这个不可能，这个不怎样，反正其实。就是他们以自身的经验告诉大家，就是你想要做出任何一个很厉害的东西的话，你就必须一再的努力，一再的甚至要去对抗很多这些没有钱啊，然后客户觉得很害怕啊，或者说旁边人不管怎样就觉得这个不可能成功啊，做不出来啊，不适合啊等等。
All right, and the next thing is stupid ideas. We are all scared that our idea is stupid, and that some other people will laugh about us, and then maybe we are scared that we just don't say the idea because it's safer that way, and we don't embarrass ourselves.
我们都没有人想要，就是没有人想要让别人觉得我的 idea 很笨，因为没有人会觉得就是我想，是一个很会想很蠢的 idea 的人，这件事情会让我们觉得很舒服。
But the thing is, a lot of little stupid ideas are then in combination with another stupid idea become a good idea, or sometimes a silly idea is also worth consideration to consider. But most importantly, when you are thinking of ideas, or when you're brainstorming with other creatives, it should never be the case that anyone is scared about anything. You should always be able to say all the ideas and even laugh about some silly thoughts. So. When Sandra and I are thinking up, sometimes we deliberately put some really stupid ideas in the deck just to make it funny, or just to laugh about it, or just like, I don't know, to tease someone else. But most importantly, to keep the spirit of every idea is allowed to be shown.
但是呢，就是事实上很多很蠢的 idea 加上其他蠢的 idea， 很可能会变成一个好的 idea， 就是很可能会变成好的 idea。所以在动脑的过程中间呢，就是永远都不要害怕，就是想出蠢的 idea。他们事实上还要学习去热爱蠢的 idea。他们有的时候其实在提案的时候啊，他们会故意放一些就是很好笑的 idea， 只是他们想要证明一个论点，就是所有的 idea 都有权利被看到。
Yeah, and this is very important. Just that you don't kind of like block yourself. Just like all the ideas out there. And I think especially when you think about what we talked before, like quantity. If you say like, okay, I make 100 ideas, it just will happen that at least 30% of them is stupid ideas. You just cannot prevent it. But if you kind of like get into the spirit that stupid ideas are allowed, then you also like put yourself in the position that sometimes a so-called stupid idea turns out to be a brilliant idea.
就是很重要的总而言之，就是说不要阻碍所有任何的 idea， 就是出现在这个世界上。对，刚刚有提到那个小 idea 的时候，量很重要。那因为至少30%的 idea 一定是非常蠢的 idea， 但是很有机会是这些蠢的 idea 事实上很有机会可以变成很棒的 idea。
Yeah, maybe just an example for the uncensored library. There is there's a sign. It's that reads "The truth wins," and it's built out of floating blocks. So you can only see it from one point in the library where all the blocks come together in perspective. And actually, it was the idea of a junior designer in our agency, and I said, "This is a stupid idea. It's never going to work." But if you believe in it, try it. Let's just try it. And in the end, it was one of the best things in the library, and everybody was really amazed how it works. And it's just because A, she was not afraid to tell an idea that probably didn't work, and B, we said, okay, let's just try it anyway, and have this thinking of giving ideas a chance.
举个例子来说啊，反正它图书馆里面后面不是有一个很多砖块飞起来变成就是真相会赢，就 the truth wins 这句话吗？然后其实当时想出来是一个就是公司里面很之前的一个设计，然后当时 Toby 给他的指导就是说，这个不可能啊，这个就是但是你可以试试看看有没有办法，就是让它 work 这样。然后结果后来就刚刚大家看到最后，大家那些砖块飞起来变成就是真相会获胜的那句话。然后他就是所有人都觉得是反正他图书馆这在里面就是最棒的，就是一个东西。但是为什么这件事情会发生呢？第一个是这个很年轻的这个设计，他不怕别人告诉他说你这 idea 很蠢。第二个是就是大家都就是给他一个机会，让他就是有机会可以出现在这世界上。
She actually built a prototype to prove us wrong, and she really tried it out herself and built everything in Minecraft to see if it would work. And as soon as we saw it really works, we were like, okay, let's do it.
那 Sandra 就补充就说，当时啊，就是这个设计他为了要证明给他这两个讨厌的老板，就是其实这是一个很棒的创意。他事实上还做了很多 prototype， 做了很多原型，然后他就是在那个游戏里面就是把它弄出来，然后给大家证明给他们看，这个是可以的，这不是一个蠢 idea。然后就是最后这就是刚刚大家讲的，就是在分享图书馆里面最让大家觉得很棒的一个小的 idea。
Yeah, then we come to the hook, where how do you really catch people's attention? What is disruptive about ideas? So when you have a whole bunch of 100 ideas, how do you evaluate them? How do you know what is a good idea?
那我们现在来谈就是 the hook， 就是那个你的创意，你想100个创意之后，其实你要找到一个就是有机会的那个他们用吊钩，就是用钩子去形容这样的一个 idea， 这样的 idea 是有机会引起大家的兴趣，然后就是一个颠覆性的 idea。那他现在就是要告诉大家如何产生，如何找到你的所有 idea 中间的像这样的一个 idea。
So a lot of good ideas actually combine two things. They combine A, probably not with B, but maybe something like with Z, something that's very on the other end of the spectrum. And you combine these two things, and they have not been together before, and hence it's a combination of two things that don't belong together. But because it's unseen and unexpected, it really catches people's attention.
很多很棒的 idea 啊，就是他们常常都是某种光谱， 就是常常在很远的地方，他们从来就没有被拼在一起过。
And especially in advertising, where everything has to work fast, a good idea often is a very delicate sweet spot between I don't get it at the very first moment, I have to think about it for a second, and then I get it, or I try to get it, and then when I don't get it after 3 seconds, I give up and I don't understand it. But both of these things, you cannot check yourself with your own idea, because since you had the idea, you cannot be surprised by your own idea. And since you kind of like thought about the idea a lot, you cannot check by yourself if you understand the idea or if it's too complicated.
我们这种就是广告创意这个行业啊，就是基本上是一个很微妙的一个行业，而且它就是运作的非常快。那我们常常会碰到一些状况，就是好的 idea 它往往是介于那个一开始我真的搞不懂，但是忽然之间我懂了这样。还有一个就是看3秒还是不懂，然后我就放弃了。但是呢，因为自己就是已经还蛮深入在这个过程中间，那会有一个状况就是，其实你已经没有办法自己判断，就是这个 idea 的好坏了。
And this is why it's so important to check your ideas with other people. Whenever I'm having ideas, I'm always testing them on Sandro, and he doesn't know any of the ideas before. So we're just checking, is Sandro like in this second surprised, or does he think there's something interesting, or does maybe sometimes he doesn't understand something like Toby, you like way too complicated, no one will get it, and the other way around. So it's really important that you share your ideas with others, discuss, try to find ways, and you can also double your brain power and find even more interesting executions to them.
那这种状况之下呢，就是其实可以，他刚刚有个说什么 double your brain power，就是你的脑力会加倍。那这个方法就是跟别人，就是你要把你的 idea 就是跟别人分享。那比如说他常常就把他的 idea 跟 Sandro 分享，然后呢，这个时候那个 Sandro 可能会他觉得惊讶或有趣，或觉得太复杂。那总而言之就是说，一刚开始想很多的 idea， 然后呢，就是借由就是跟别人沟通来测验看看这个 idea 到底好不好，那可以让你的脑力加倍。
And next thing, very important but also very hard, kill your darlings. In advertising and in design, or especially in creative industry, I think probably around 95% of your ideas will die, or especially in the beginning of your career, the majority of your work goes straight to the trash bin, because as we said in the beginning, you make 100 ideas to have one idea. That means 99% of ideas won't make it.
那在这个阶段有一个非常重要的大家都要学会的事情，就是其实你要杀掉自己的亲爱的想法。对，因为就是在这一行啊，尤其是当你开始做创意的时候，95%你的 idea 都会被杀掉。那这就是为什么刚开始说要想100个 idea， 因为如果你的100个 idea 中有一个是好的 idea， 那其实你的就是表示99%的 idea 都会进到垃圾桶这样。
So it's really important to do the reality check. Like, what is the reality? How does my idea need to survive out there? And will it survive? And if it doesn't, if it's very unclear if it will survive, sometimes it's better to kill your idea in a very early stage. I've seen a lot of creatives clinging on to an idea that doesn't really work just because they've already started executing it and didn't want to like face the truth of that it's probably that they're riding a dead horse.
那就是我们要对我们的 idea 做这种现实的检查，我们真的要了解，就是我们现在问题面临的那个就是现状到底是怎么样，我的 idea 能够在这样的现实之下存活吗？那杀掉这个你热爱的，就是你亲爱的 idea 的过程要越早越好，因为他们其实常看到就是比如说同业们，然后就比如说公司的同事，然后他们就是因为太不忍放弃某个 idea， 因为假设你已经开始执行了，你已经开始拍了，你已经开始做，然后你就会越难放弃。但是事实上呢，就很像就是骑在一匹死马上面，就是最后还是没办法。
But if there is an idea that you really believe in, where you are 100% certain that this is the winner, don't let anyone else kill it.
但是不过要回头讲一句话，就是就像刚刚那个设计的故事，假设你知道你很相信你某个 idea 就是很棒，你就不要让任何人刷掉它。
Well, that's more like like the mandatories. There is a lot of ideas out there, and you should really do a background check. Has my idea been done before? I think, we actually every once in a while, actually quite often, we have a good idea, and then we realize, okay, but this is also like a bit of an obvious good idea for this problem, and maybe a lot of other people have thought about this problem as well. And then often it's quite likely that the idea has been done before or in a certain way. So check your idea, because do the background check. It is really, really annoying if you execute an idea and you put in all the effort, and then afterwards you find out that it's been done before.
那还有一件很重要的事情，就是要对 idea 做背景调查，就是有人做过吗？因为他们自己常有经验，就是有时候他觉得有的 idea 好像就是看起来明显，然后结果他们就是在做背景调查的时候就发现，的确有人做过了这样。这个很重要，是因为你不要等到就是你已经开始拍了，你已经开始做了，你网站已经开始就是都是执行人做了一个 APP 做了半天之后，你才发现人家已经早就做过了。
So an idea often has multiple layers. So there's a core inside, then there's like the basic idea around it, and then there's sometimes also like multiple layers how you can make add-ons and basically just make it bigger.
其实就是很多我们看到的创意，它是很多层次的，就是它会有一个核心的洞察，然后之后呢，再根据这个洞察一直就是每一层一层的把它加上去，然后让它就是越大越好这样。
And especially when you make a big project like the Uncensored Library, we were really trying to make it bigger. We were trying to make the library as big as possible. We were trying to put as many countries and journalists and book as possible in there, but also try to write as many journalists, PR, or influencers about it. And we were trying 10, 20 different things to make it bigger. And 10 of them failed, or even more, 50, but then 5 of them actually worked. So you should really try hard to make your idea bigger and push a lot. And then from all the things you try, a few will actually work.
那以台审查图书馆为例就是在这个过程中间，他们就是也一直不停的在努力，让它变得就是层次越丰富、越大越好。比如说，他们希望反审查图书馆里面出现的国家越多越好，然后出现的这些就是新闻记者的报道越多越好。然后呢，为这个能够动员到越多的影响者跟记者，为反审查图书馆就是做支持他们就是写相关的报道，那就是越多越好。那他们做了比如说10到20件其他就是像这样的支持性的计划，其中可能有10到15个都失败，可是可能中间有5个就成功了。那这样它就可以帮助个案就是在往外就是继续的推展。那最重要的是说，你必须做很多这样的努力，去让你的 idea 的层次还有它的规模都越大越多越好。那你也要知道，就是说大部分这些努力可能都会失败，但是其中有一些会成功。
So the next slide is take a step back. Especially when I was a young creative and I started coming up with ideas, when I had, in what was in my opinion, a good idea, I got very quickly really excited. I wanted to start straight away in the moment and really run forward with this idea.
那就这边在讲的叫做就是往后退一步。托比回忆到他就是他跟各位一样比较年轻的时候他也是想到一个 idea 就很兴奋，就马上冲出去，然后就是马上要冲进去，马上开始的。
But it's really important to take a step back. So I usually, when I write films and have the first draft, I only start editing again the next day. So if you sleep, I mean, it makes sense to say sleep over it, because it really gives you a different perspective. You can take a step back, look at the overall thing, and the longer I wait between making an idea and evaluating an idea, the better gets my ability to see the idea, or like, let's say, evaluate the idea in a neutral way.
那但是呢，像现在他在就是工作上，比如说当他在写一个影片的这个脚本的时候，当他写完第一个脚本之后啊，他一定不会马上开始，他至少都会就是睡觉，第二天他才开始重新就是在做就是这种就是剪辑的动作，就是重新开始重写。那他觉得就是说，当你已经进入这个阶段的时候，你每个阶段之间就是你重新去写作，重新去检讨你这个作品中去改进，中间这个等待的过程，其实能够的话就是越久越好，因为你要学会就是你对中性的对待这个现在这个想法。
And then preparation for the idea process. I mean, a lot of people think that ideas just come out of nowhere, and they can happen at any time. But actually, the longer you work as a creative, you will realize that ideas are actually something that is also something that happens in your brain, and you need to then also work with your brain. And when you are tired, dehydrated, when you drink 5 coffees, when you haven't slept the night, or when you're stressed, when you don't have enough time, then it gets really hard. The more focused, the more pressure you have to really come up with an idea, the harder it probably gets.
然后我们就是所谓的创意其实是一个脑力的作业。那如果说你太累啊、没睡觉啊、咖啡喝太多啊、压力太大啊，其实都会影响你的创意的就是的品质。
So as I said before, ideas actually, when you look at the neuroscience at it, is your brain trying to find from all the memories that you have in your brain, trying to go through all the little synapses at the ends, and try to find some elements and connect them from different parts of the brain. So people who are very creative are often people who are also a bit unconcentrated, because the more unconcentrated you are, the more you wander in all of these different corners of your brain, and you collect like little elements and connect them. And then you can connect 2 things from very far corners of your brain and combine them to something new that hasn't been combined before. And the further the things that you combine are apart from each other, the more creative the idea often is.
其实那个就是创意啊、想 idea 这件事情，它其实是有点脑科学，就是很多好的创意它都不是专才，它是通才。然后因为它要在很多的就是那个大脑里面所有的记忆的碎片里面找出就是新的关联性，所以如果我们就是能够在更广泛的这些就是记忆的片段中间找出就是更令人意外的关联性的话，往往就会是更有创意的。
So sitting down in front of your laptop, which is a very focused action, might sometimes not be the best idea finding position. So me personally, and everybody has to find this out for themselves, I can think very well when I, for example, take a walk in the park or take a walk in the forest. Because here you really have this, you can look around, your thoughts can really wander. I also like to think when I'm sitting in a train and I can just look out of the window and the landscapes drive past. These are situations where I can really think best, because my thoughts are just wandering everywhere.
我刚刚翻成就专才跟通才，其实应该退一步，就是说其实你不要太把焦点集中在某件事情上面，然后你比较能够就是更广泛的找出就是更广泛的范围内中间令人意外的连接哦。所以他跟大家说，就是一直坐在电脑前面，然后去想要想出好创意是有一点困难的。就是我们应该要想办法不要太集中焦点。比如说他自己想创业的时候，他会去散步啊，看看窗外的风景啊。总而言之，就不要只是一屁股坐在你的电脑前面。
All right, and now we come to the bit more fun part of the presentation, and Sandra will talk about the execution part. All right, here's to Sandra.
Toby.
Remote.
Oh, of course.
control. So, yeah. Sorry.
Wait.
You wanna? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
那接下来就是我们就进入到这个讲座里面，就是 Toby 说比较有趣的部分，因为我们之前谈的是什么想 idea 啊什么之类，但我们现在要讲的是执行，怎么执行。
All right. Yeah. So the execution. So you found your idea. Everyone kind of approves. Everyone is on board. Everyone thinks this is worth executing. Where do you start? How do you actually begin with this process? So for the uncensored library, the execution itself is a quite important part, and it makes a difference.
好了，现在大家经过前面所说的那些过程，然后现在有个大家都觉得不错的 idea 了，但是我们要怎么开始执行呢？那就像就是反审查图书馆这个案例里面啊，其实执行是非常非常的为 idea 加分的。
So for example, for the uncensored library, we could just have put some bookshelves into Minecraft, and the idea would have worked. It would be fine, right? But we thought, what could be the next step? How do we really execute it on the next level? So we went into research and started to look up, okay, what do people do in Minecraft? What is like the most exciting buildings they're making?
就像反审查图书馆这个 idea 啊，其实基本上反审查图书馆里面就有那个书本嘛，他们本来只需要把那个丑丑的书本就是弄到上架就好了。这样这个 idea 就已经成立了，但是呢，他们没有停在这里，他们继续思考，就是我们可以怎么样把它推到下一个层次。于是他们就开始进行就是很多的研究，他们看看人们在反审查图书馆，不是人们在那个我的世界里面在做些什么。于是他们就发现说，其实很多人就是在里面，就是它里面有他的建筑师，他们会去做一些很宏大的建筑。
So we've seen there's a lot of impressive stuff out there already. So we knew we needed to raise the bar quite high in order to make an impression with the people that already are very familiar with Minecraft. And we exactly knew we wouldn't do this ourselves. So we need help. So we got a professional studio that was doing this for over 10, 12 years, and got professional help basically from them.
那他们就是在我的世界里面，在 Minecraft 里面，就是到处在research 的时候，他们就发现，其实里面已经有很多人建了很多令人印象深刻的建筑，就是在他图书馆里面，他们其实有专业的建筑师跟建筑工。那对于熟悉这个游戏的人来说，那他们就会期待，就是之后看，如果能够令他们印象深刻的，绝对不会是像刚开始说的，只是把一些丑丑的书本上架。所以呢，他们这时候就是决定，他们也要做像这样子令人就是印象深刻的建筑。那在这个时候，他们就理解到说，他们自己是做不到这样的事情的，他们必须要找到就是专业的，就是已经在 Minecraft 里面就是打造这些建筑的这些专业的这些所谓的建筑者跟这些就是约好建筑师还有这些包工嘛，那这些人他们都在里面，就是已经玩了10到12年，他们现在需要这些人的帮助。
So one thing I'd like to talk about is not artificial intelligence in depth, because I believe you have probably other people that already had a talk on that, or that have much more of a deeper insight into that technology. I'd rather talk a bit about how am I still relevant with AI being here.
那他这边想要提一下就是 AI， 那最近 AI 这个大家都在大家都对这件事情应该有很多的了解。那他今天就是并不是来跟大家说 AI 是什么，他只想讲一件事，就是这边写的，就是有了 AI 之后还会需要我吗？这样。
So as you know, AI will stick around. It won't go away. It will be there. And I think we need to develop with it and need to go on. So it's a powerful tool. But what does it do to the industry? Basically, it democratizes creativity. So everyone is now able to make creative products, come up with interesting visuals, right?
那AI 啊，就是它绝对不会消失的，就是我们这个产业就是基本上一定会受到 AI 很大的影响。 那我们必须跟 AI 共存。但 AI 事实上是一个有利的工具，那它到底有什么好处呢？它最大的重点就是它民主化的创意跟创作。现在每个人都有办法，就是很容易的就会可以获得，就是让人非常印象深刻的这些视觉的表现。
So it becomes much more important for you to cut through the masses, to really think different than anyone else, because there will be even more people that have now a very convenient tool to express their ideas or come up with ideas. So uniqueness and thinking differently is the key here.
那既然所有人都能够很容易的就创造出很多，就是大家应该都有，就是都有在看到，就是像很容易就看到很多很厉害的那种就是图片的时候，那其实我们就更需要能够有独特性，才能突破这么大量的这些视觉的生成。
So don't just use the same prompts that anyone else uses and think like, how could you actually change it up and mix it up maybe also? So why not going in and prompt a visual and make the AI, let the AI make the work, print it out, and then paint over it and scan it in back again and interpret and let the IA interpret again what this is. So try to find unusual, unique ways to feed the AI too.
那就是比如说，即使是你去提示 AI， 就是去生成那些图像，那你也要找到非常独特的方式，去创造出就是不寻常的、独特的这些图像。
So it still matters a lot who is using the AI, who is actually giving the inputs to the AI. So your brain still matters a lot, and you can make a difference with just using a unique angle on how to use this tool, because this is it. It's a tool, and AI won't take your job, but people that use AI will take your job.
所以呢，就是谁在使用 AI 这件事情，谁在给 AI 指令，就是这个谁还是非常非常重要的。但是重点是，就是你必须找到自己使用 AI 的独特角度。他后来最后讲的就是 AI 不会抢走你的工作，但是利用 AI 的人会抢走你的工作。
All right. How to become a good art director? How many of you are in the art direction side? Hands up.
就是现场属于艺术表现，包括设计啊、绘画呀、电绘啊、做网站。总而言之，现场多少人是在执行者这个部分？
Not that much. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Still
Still relevant for all the other concepts in copyright and strategists, maybe. So I think one of the most important things is what I've learned as a young creative is, or what no one told me basically, was you need to be very structured and collect your stuff and have everything together, sorted out and labeled, and you have archives and things like this. I always thought, okay, art director, I'm just gonna be a fun person and draw things around, and that's it.
在他就是变成一个厉害的艺术指导的养成过程中间，没有人告诉过他，其实他必须非常结构性的去整理很多资料。他之前只有想到说，我是一个艺术指导，这是一个非常非常好玩的事情，我只要在这里创作就好了。结果他发现事实上不是这样。
So there are a lot of trends, styles, and things going on in the design and in the art direction industry and in the advertising industry in general. It's not only about art direction; it's also about copyright or storytelling. So there are a lot of trends out there where you need to keep up with. You need to inform yourself and collect all these data, all these references, all the links you have. This may sound stupid, but this makes sense to just collect everything and have it very structured and organized. What's the client? What's the style, the tonality I'm working with? What's the key of the key case I was dragged in by the work? and of course the name of the people that do the work.
那这边是他自己用自己的这个他组织的资料给大家看，就是假设你要成为一个好的创业人啊，就是成为一个好的艺术指导，事实上你不是只是坐在那边把东西生成出来，你必须要去知道会了解有很多的趋势，有很多的风格，然后呢就是不管是在设计或者是说在广告。是不只要了解设计，不只要了解广告，你甚至要去了解，就是它有很多，比如说写作的我们说到撰文，就是撰文的趋势，或者说故事的趋势，你必须要就是让自己知道，就是有这些事情在发生，而且你必须要收集这些资料，那你必须用非常结构化的方式去把你的所有的这些你找到的这些讯息组织在一起。像大家上面看到，比如说哪一位著名的创业人他做过什么，然后他客户是什么，他用什么样的风格，用什么样的就是反正就是风格，对，或者是说他做过哪些主要的个案，然后这些个案他跟谁合作，你看他就是把它全部都组织得很好，这是一个你要做一个创业人，做一个艺术指导，你必须要做自我养成。
So yeah, there's a lot of things around. So there's also a lot of tools around to collect these kind of references. I just never really found one that incorporates all, because I also have often just references I take with my phone when I go outside. For example, a lot of here in Taiwan, I just make pictures of interesting visuals I've never seen before, or signs and language that is interesting to me, and that goes into that kind of structure somewhere, so I have it ready when I need it.
组织这些参考资料其实也有很多的工具。那就是其中的一个是像，比如说像他自己这次来台湾，他也会用他的手机去拍很多让他觉得很有趣的图像，然后最后他会把他们就是很好的组织在一起，这样子当他就是以后就是想要用的时候，他才找得到。
When I was starting in the industry, I was overwhelmed with everything that I had to do or that was linked to my function as an art director, and I needed to do, I don't know, photography, illustration, design, corporate identity, motion design, 3D design. So there's a lot that is like important for you, but do I really have to be good at everything?
其实在他比较刚入行的时候啊，他会因为所谓艺术指导这个工作，就是包山包海，什么都要做。你可能要去拍东西，你可能是要做设计，甚至还要会做那个就是企业识别，这一整套要做出来。然后你还要会动画，你还会3D。那时候他也会觉得他被这整件事情给淹没，然后前面还要知道那么多的事情。那当时他就是也会觉得，哎，我是不是像上面写的，就是他是瑞士人嘛，所以他就用瑞士刀为比喻，就是我需要什么都会嘛，都很厉害嘛。
So the key is not really to master every technique and be perfect in every software or in every kind of direction. It's rather really developing your taste, having a good taste and a good sense of what is visual quality and how am I different to other art directors, or what makes me unique as an art director is way more important.
答案并不是你什么都要会，什么都要很专。作为一个艺术指导，最重要其实是要发展你自己的品味。你要如何就是让你的品味是独特的，跟其他的艺术指导都不一样，这才是最重要的事情。
So one example, or maybe a different, a good practice for that is to really look at a lot of designers, a lot of different people that you really admire, where you think like they come up with good things. So go to the Cannes Lions website or DNAD and go into work you really think this is something I like, this is something I think is genius. Also, by the way, is for all the conceptors and copywriters out there. Stalk the people that did that. Go into the credits and see what's the name of that person? Google them and find their portfolio online.
要成为一个很好的艺术指导，你很重要的一个练习就是你必须要去找到让你很佩服的人，然后去深入的了解他们的作品，而且不只是设计的作品，包括就是因为广告的团队里面通常就是一个文案搭配一个设计，搭配一个艺术指导。那所以你不只要了解就是设计，你也要就是了解就是撰文，就是比如说概念那一方面。那大家就是要常看坎城的，或者常看就是 DNAD 的这些网站，因为你要仔细的不是只有看作品，你要去看那个创作人员名单，你要知道谁做了什么，然后他是怎么样的，就是每次去创作，然后解决他当时的问题。
So one example maybe from my side. So I really suck at 3D design. I never learned it. I was too lazy. I was never interested in it because the programs like Blender or Cinema 4D were just too complex and didn't really attract me.
他自己举一个例子，我们还没有听完这个例子，就是总而言之，他的3D 设计这方面是非常弱的，因为他没有开发这方面的这个能力。然后，好的，先这样，后面一半不知道是什么。Continue.
So I found this tool online. It's called Womb 3D. It's a free browser-based tool basically to create 3D visuals. And I really was amazed by its easy use and how you can, with basically no knowledge at all, you can just make really good and nice looking 3D designs, right? And I just played around a bit and it got quite fast, better, and could do things I would never have imagined before.
虽然它的3D 就是很烂，也不会用很多，刚会助教，对3D 但是3D 软体最重要就是它没有进入这个养成，它就没有像各位一样在资传系上课都没有用到3D 软体。但是呢，它就是去找到一个叫做大家看上面这个就问3D.com， 然后它是可以用比较直观的方式，就是所见即所得的方式，然后他就一直玩，然后他就变得很就是学会很多用3D 去做视觉的表现的方式的。
So what's the key takeaway from that? I can find things online or whenever I look around to be also creative in how I can overcome my weakness and make to a strength, and so just being creative in the way of finding something like that. Sometimes it's just in front of you, or a friend tells you about it. So keep your eyes open and always try to find unique angles and different ways to approach your ideas, and find also new techniques that you might be afraid of. But yeah, you should try to really find these things to elevate your range.
它前面那张 ，Can we go back to the earlier one? Yeah， 那个它上面有一个叫做 circulant。我刚好跟他讲说这是一个超难的字，我还要去 Google 才知道。但是基本上它就是规避的意思，就是说，其实你可以用创意的方式去规避掉自己的弱点。比如说你3D 不强，但是你在网络上找，或者你问朋友，有人跟你讲，其实你就可以找到一些方式，就是去就是去规避掉你的不是很强的地方。对，所以永远都是要开放，然后就是要学习，然后要找到新的方式去认识这些就是新的科技。OK，
Oh, we have animation. I show you the animation. Maybe you're interested in that. So also here, it's very easily done. I've never really was into animation, but I started to work out, and this is a really early process. But you can do very easy things with just diving deep and researching and figure out how maybe other people are doing it. So yeah, try to be very often on the side of researching and try to find different ways to make your weakness a strength.
这里的他刚刚就是给大家看，就是虽然他不会做3D，但是他就是因为他有一直去不断的学习，所以他也可以就是做出像这样子的东西。但是重点就是说，你一定要一直在进行自己的养成，要用各种方式，要去调查各种方法，那用这些创意的方式，然后去培养你自己的能力。
All right, then we already come to the last slide. We wanted to give you some recommendations.
好，大家应该很高兴，就是因为刚刚已经有冲去上厕所，就是我们来到了我们今天最后一张投影片了。然后他想要给各位一些建议，就是各位可以去就是使用的，就像刚刚他说，你听人家讲，你会学到很多创意的方式去规避自己的弱点，养成自己的能力。Okay, please.
So yeah, the first one is a book Toby recommended it actually. Seems relevant if Toby recommends it.
第一个是一本就是一本书，这个好像也有中文版，就是蛮久之前出的。那这是 Toby 的推荐。
And then the second one is called Stuff About Advertising. It's a TikTok channel. She's a creative director, copy-based, and she just grabs things from the advertising world and talks about it, what they do, how they are effective, and what's the creative idea behind it. And yeah, it's very insightful. Yeah, she has a lot of tips also for young creatives.
第二个是一个 TikTok 的一个账号，就是在讲广告的。那其实就跟我们所有人研究广告一样，我们就是去知道一个个案，然后它后面的一些它是怎么发生的，然后它也会讲很多这方面的事情，而且它也有很多就是年轻创业人可能会觉得有用的一些想法。
And then we have also another TikTok account, Jason Bagley. I don't know, probably some of you already know him. He's the former, one of the former ECD or CD, I guess, from Wieden and Kennedy. And he shares really valuable insights from the advertising industry, the work with clients, and how sometimes things were very difficult to approach. But how to basically get them done and convince people of your idea too. Also a lot of tips for young creatives how to make it in this industry.
那另外一个也是一个 TikTok 的账号，就是 Jason Beckley， 他是一个以前在很有名的公司 Wieden Kennedy 就是工作的一个创意总监，他现在做这个就是自媒体。然后呢，他这里面也是一样，就是有很多年轻创业人可能可以有很多学习的东西，比如说他也会分享，就是你要怎么样创作，还有怎么样跟客户沟通，然后就是说服客户接受你的 idea。
And then we have a podcast which is called It's Only Fucking Advertising. And the interesting thing about that is, so he goes and interviews, talks with creative industry legends. So it's really the people that made famous campaigns, and he talks with them on a very eye-on-eye level, and just figures out what were like their entry into this industry. And it's always amazing to see how different all these journeys are from these really, really good creatives you always hear about, how different they got into this industry and how long it sometimes took.
那最后一个是一个 podcast， 然后它那个我们用的那个字体不太对，所以刚刚那边有个那个 apostrophe， 那边有个 space， 是我们的错，不是他们的错，因为我们找不到一些字体的。那这是一个 podcast， 然后他是 Alex Bogosky， 他就是之前他还没有离开我们2018年，他还没有离开我们这一行的时候，Alex Bogosky 是一家很有名的公司叫 Crispin Porter Bogosky 的创办人。他后来最有名的就是说，我不做广告了，这样他就走了这样。然后，但是他就是因为他们公司一度是我们这个行业中超级厉害的一个公司。然后他当时写了很多就是非常激励人心的东西这样。然后大家现在还可以去看这个，他很多访问的创意人，就是现在都还是我们这行非常非常厉害的创意人。 然后你们可以听到像，比如说他是当时怎么入行，他们在过程中间克服哪些困难，然后做出那些很厉害的东西的。对，其实I just add on some my personal comments， 就是像这些人都是我工作中也是非常重要，我们都要知道他们是谁。然后我也会希望大家知道，我每年都在写书，为什么？其实我们在做一模一样的事情，我们要追随那些我们就是觉得很厉害的人，我们要去了解他的作品，他作品是怎么做出来的这样。然后像这些就是有很多像这样子的书本或者媒体，大家可以参考。OK。
Just one thing, maybe on the podcast, you need to type in IOFA to find it because, yeah, the word fucking is probably not that. Some search engines don't like that.
如果大家要找到这个 podcast 的话，可能要打那个 IOFA， 因为那个某个字是会被挡掉的，这样。
All right. I think that's it from us. Thank you very much for listening.
Next, Steve.
I think we can take some questions, right? Yeah.
If there are questions, yeah, happy to answer.
We asked the professional teams. Each of you has to ask one question, right? 那你们呢
All right.
Coming. Question coming.
我讲中文的，对，好，就是刚刚有一段是 Toby 说他们那个预算 run 到5次，然后客户很怕。我只是想问他说，因为就是当你自己真的投入广告业的时候，其实你平常可以接收到的 budget 就是偶像这样，就是你的耐受线是可以，就是每一个人是有习惯的 budget 的，所以当那个 budget 更超过你平常看到的，你自己难道不会害怕？就是假如我平常接触到的客户就是他的 budget 就是500万，隔天让我一直 run 到5次500万。老实说，过程中我自己应该也会很害怕，然后想问他说他怎么说服自己，就算让到5次他都不怕。
This is such a deep question. You mentioned that you have to fight and fight. For example, with the Ancestor Library, the budget ran out 5 times. But her question is on the other side. It's like she feels that you can correct me. Okay, if I didn't. Okay, so being a creative person, for example, if the client gave her, 5 million NT dollars, and she would feel that it's a little bit probably beyond my capability to,
handle the money. 没事，我帮你补充一下。
是什么？
就那个 handle 那个500万。
To handle that million, and you said you probably 他刚刚说什么？
他花了5次都没有。
对 ，run out the budget 5 times. So do you sometimes feel this like, can I really handle this much budget? I mean, probably not with Ancestor Library because we know they don't come with a lot of budget.
I mean, of course, it depends on the project. When there is a project with 5 million, it won't be just you as a creative. There will be a bunch of accountants, creative directors, executive directors, managing directors, CCOs, strategy directors, and so on and so on. It doesn't make it easier. But for a project like the Uncensored Library, where basically it's a bit of a smaller project where you are the lead creative and you can also take care of the budget, that's a bit easier. I think the Uncensored Library was something about 30,000 euros, which is, wait, how many Taiwan dollars is that?
30,000.
Yes, probably. Yeah, times 30, yeah. 30. Yeah.
9 Millionen?
Around, yeah, it's around 1 million. Yeah. So yeah, that was around a million Taiwan dollars, which feels manageable.
你懂他？他说，如果你真的有那么多钱，然后的话，那你其实不会只是一个人，你上面会有一大堆的人，业的老板，对不对？
那可以理解成就是因为那个风险分担到别人身上，所以我觉得可以少害怕一点。
Could it be explained, perceived in this way that if I do have that much budget and the risks are actually taken over by everybody in the team, and I can be less afraid? That's a follow-up question.
Um, when there is a lot of budget involved and you're scared that you have the risk, you can also try to take the risk away from you. I mean, as a creative, it is not your problem to manage budget. It's your project to manage the creative part. And usually in a big creative agency, there's like accountants and that take care of that. So when you are taking care of budget yourself, then it helps if you have everything documented, if everything is on paper, you save your emails and so on. We had a problem with the Uncensored Library. They made a problem with the website and suddenly there was a fine of 10,000 euros. But because we could say like, hey, it wasn't our mistake, here's all the emails and so on, no one could say that it was our mistake.
就是其实基本上，如果你是创业人的话，就在一个有那么多钱，那表示你在一个很大的团队里面，在一个公司里面，基本上应该不是由你来负担这个预算的方面的那个问题。但是他有一点，他就是说，假设就是你真的需要，觉得你会害怕风险的话，那你在这个过程中间所有的文件你都要留着好好的自保，因为像即使是那个培生图书馆里面。到最后有一个过程是说，忽然之间来了一个账单，就是蛮大的一笔账单，但是因为他们都有保留所有的往来的那个电邮，所以他们可以跟客户说，这是不是我们的不可归责于我方，是就是那你要支付这笔费用的。还有 follow up 吗？有这么深入的问题吗
Thank you。
那个 Rocky 来 ，We have professional teams。
就是我刚刚听到 Toby 说他每次都会想到100个 idea， 可是我觉得这件事情对我来说很难，是因为每一次我在解 brief 的时候，我都会想说我一定要很精确的解决这个 brief 给我的问题，所以我会很容易卡住，我没有办法想出100个 idea， 我可能想出10个就很了不起了。所以我想要问的是，就是他们在面对这种状况的时候，他们有没有什么方法去排解这样子的困境？就是很容易去钻进 brief 的漏洞，或者是他们既有的 idea 里面。
什么叫钻进 brief 的漏洞？
就是可能有些 brief 会已经给你一个框架，你会我觉得很不小心陷去里面去钻那个洞，那我就很难走出来。
Toby said you would encourage every young creative to think at least 100 ideas. But what she finds in her job is she tries to be as precise as possible. She feels it's her obligation to do that. So she often and she often feels that okay, I was given a friend, with my brief, and she often stuck herself into this friend. How did you get out, and how did you free yourself from stucking because you try to be precise?
I'm wondering if I could. Can I connect my computer here? I don't know if that works.
大家赶快想问题了，你看有问题就有回答，是吧？Let's take a break.
No, it's like that. Oh, should work quickly, huh? Does it work? No? Ah, yeah, great. So maybe it just like it's easiest to show.
Ich glaube, sie hat Pause gemacht, Tobi, sie ist weg.
Yeah.
You need a sound.
Come again? No,
Sound?
it's fine.
Sound? No.
Was können wir denn zeigen? Wo haben wir viele Ideen gemacht?
Weiß ich gar nicht, bei vielleicht. Ja, oder die 25 hier. Ich glaube, da waren mehr. Ne? Ist halt für die irrelevant, weil sie sie eh nicht lesen können.
Ich will ja nur zeigen, wie wenig das ist. Ne? Ich habe die aktuelle Presse gar nicht hier.
Weiß nicht, wie zielführend das ist, weißt du, aber.
So I thought it's easiest if I just show like from my real work. I mean, this is work that I get paid for, and when I come up with ideas, when I make ideas, it looks like this. It's just like 3 words. Sometimes it's just like, can I do? It's just like every line that you see here is a different idea. It's just like that actually is how I write down an idea. It's just like a thought. It's just one sentence, maybe just 3 words. There's no in-depth thinking, no detail. There's nothing. It's just like a very, very, very rough thought, and then I write the next idea. So this is how I write 100 ideas. If you try to do more than that, it's not possible.
很难，就是这样。
Yep.
他刚刚给大家看他的秘密档案哦，就是他实际上那个他在做他就是收费的，就是他可以应该怎么讲？就是基本上他做广告，然后获得薪水是真正的工作的时候，事实上他想 idea 的方式就是像你刚刚看到那一页上面就有很多 idea， 有时候只有3个字，对，意思就要做到像这样就好，并没有让你做的什么超精确或者干嘛的。有理解吗？看懂？看懂？不是，他刚刚说有的 idea 只有3个字啊。对啊，比如说像有一个 idea 是我刚刚有偷看到一个是登山脚踏车吗？这样问号这样举例。对，他说你如果要想到100个 idea， 你比这个更精确、更那个深入是不可能的。所以事实上你只要这样就好了，你就先做这样，然后但是你要走到100个这样 OK 吗？有没有更深接着问的问题？我听不到你刚才。
就是如果已经想到100个了，好，那我现在要开始收敛，那他们会怎么样去收敛 idea， 去怎么选，用什么样的指标去衡量这个 idea 会不会成？
刚有说啊，跟 Sandra 讲。Okay, I will ask. So now you have 100 ideas, right? You have this quantity of ideas. You probably next one is go to like converge. How do you select the ideas that might be working?
Yeah, usually we sit together, and then I mean, Sandra and me like choose whomever partner you have, or maybe even like yourself if you don't have someone at hand, and then you just like try to find what idea resonates. I mean, this also takes some time to get a feeling for what is a good idea and what is a bad idea. I think it also helps, like if you watch a lot of ideas that win awards, or really see like what is it that other people, good people, have in their portfolios. And I think if you watch a lot of, for example, award case, so actually as a young creative, every time there's Cannes or D&AD, actually it is your duty to watch all the categories, to watch at least all the gold winners, preferably gold, bronze, silver. Don't watch the shortlist, but you need to spend every time there's a major award show, you need to spend 1 or 2 days just watching, like the whole day watching ideas, just so that you get a feeling what is a good idea. And then when you select, this is what I wanted to show. This is how we presented ideas. Often just one picture, and it's just like 3 to 4 pages. This is a film now. This is not more. This is how we present ideas.
好的，那进入到这个修炼阶段呢，首先他就会跟他 partner Sandra 坐在一起，然后他们会就是一一的看，就是哪些会是有感觉有吗？对，然后呢，那他也提到一点，就是说作为年轻创意人啊，基本上就是看得奖作品集，或者看得奖作品，或看别人的放在作品集的作品是你的任务。他说尤其是像凯成的 D&AD 啊，你至少都要把金奖看完。基本上就是像比较重要的这一奖出来之后，他们都会至少花1天到2天嘛，要把他所有的至少金奖作品要看完。哎，你可以购买小鱼老师的，对。所以你好像是就这样嘛，对吧？哦，然后他刚有给你们偷偷，刚有人拍照吧？就是他在 present 的时候，他们其实也是只是拿一张图，然后就写一段话这样子就 present， 他不会搞得超级复杂的。 这样懂吗？刚有人拍照吧，我没在拍。Yes.
Good.
Good. Very good question. 这样还有吗？接着来。OK。
就刚刚 Toby 有分享到，就是很多很蠢的 idea， 或许它也会是个好 idea。那我想问，就是这两位就是在创意的生涯里面，他们各自想过可能最蠢的 idea， 可以分享给我。
Oh, very good question is coming. Toby just mentioned that silly ideas could be good ideas, and he wants to know both of you what were the silliest ideas that you ever had.
Silliest idea that I ever had. For that,
there's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it, yeah. Silly idea. There was one most recent. I mean, we had so many silly ideas. It's really hard to count them all. Actually, with each client presentation, we really try to put at least one silly idea. But lately, we had an idea where we want. I had an idea for a German railway station where I wanted to make goats social media managers, and every time there was something bad on social media, the goats would just eat it. So goats were social media managers and eat the complaints that were printed on paper.
哦，好像是听错话，请那个修正。就是第一个，那个 Toby 啊，他说他那个很笨的 idea， 就是很蠢的 idea， 真的太多了，是很难选的。然后他们说他每次提案的时候，至少要放一个超蠢的 idea 进去的。然后不过他说他最近有一个很蠢的 idea 是，他们在做那个德国国铁的提案的时候，然后他想 idea 是。好像是有一个社群媒体经理，他的工作就是要把那个是一个 goats， 一个
goats like animal like
一个羊，有一只羊是社群媒体经理，然后他的工作就是要把那个大家留在社群媒体上的那个不好的留言吃掉，这样对。Sandra.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember. I have so many stupid ideas. Difficult to say.
太多了，已经无法。How about talking about the DDB presentation? You said.
Yeah, maybe so. One thing that goes at least in the direction of answering the question. So what we had at DDB, where we worked together, that was pretty fun. Is once a year on Halloween, anyone needed to present their most embarrassing ad they ever did.
就是我提醒他们之前有讲过一件事，就是他们之前，因为他们之前两个都在柏林 DDB 嘛，他们 DDB 每年万圣节会开一个超级大 party， 然后所有的创意老板们，就是那种很厉害的创意人，都要来提一个他们生涯中最烂的创意。
So that was quite hilarious because then you also had really like high people that you really admired with great ideas and where we thought like, okay, they're like gods, right? They came up and presented like the shittiest idea you've ever seen. And it was quite liberating because you felt, okay, they're also just humans. They also do a lot of bad ideas. And yeah, you felt on an eye level, which is great to set a good environment for creativity. So no one is ashamed to show their bad ideas.
他们就是觉得那个就是那个派对很棒，因为有些人真的很厉害，就是我们觉得那就是我们这行业的神这样。结果你看到他也当时有提过一些超级烂，就是做过一些超级烂的 idea， 你就觉得其实他们也跟我们一样都是人类这样，这是一个非常具有解放性的经验，因为这样对创造一个环境，就是所有人都不用害怕提出很烂的 idea 是非常非常好的。
DDB Night of Horror。
就是恐怖 DDB 的恐怖之夜这样，对，欢迎大家参观不是？后面还有问题吗 ？Okay, more questions.
Actually, I want to ask because you say that about we want to create something that haven't been done before, but actually, after like we look through all the case study, we can see that sometimes things we come up actually have been done like some other people have done something like real similar, or like you can find actually they're kind of like the same core for the inside. So how will you do if you find you already have your idea, but you find it's maybe similar with other people have been done before? Will you like try to change it, or you will just drop it?
Just wait a minute. I asked the 主持人 for the rest of the. 你可以帮现场的小弟弟、小妹们翻译一下吗？
就是如果你已经有一个想法了，但是你发现其实可能已经别人做过很相似的了，或者是好像有很相近的案例，感觉好像其实并没有特别的新颖。那这种时候是放弃它，还是说去看怎么样做改变？
This actually happens quite often that you feel like, okay, this idea might be a bit similar to this idea or that idea. So what we often do is we try to play it quite transparently, and in our presentation we also we make a little mark like watch out, idea this and that similar. So often it's possible to get the idea a bit away from it, or like make it a bit different, or try to work with a different style, work with a different sentence, and so on. So it's possible, if it's not the exact same idea, and if the idea is not very unique, it's usually possible to divert it a bit away from it. But yeah, sometimes you also have to say like, okay, if we're being honest, it's the same idea. And if we're making it a little bit different, it's still the same idea. And then you have to face it and say like, okay, maybe it's out.
你要不然好，我他刚问说，如果你发现你的 idea 就是被他做过了，你是要放弃还是要改变？其实他的答案是两个都有。第一个是说，他们如果提案的时候，就是有的话他们会注明，就是说，其实这个就是之前有人做过一个类似的这样子，这样大家都知道。那其实，但他最后讲，其实是说，就是如果大家知道是这个之前有人做过类似，最后通常都会被放弃这样。对，但是他们提案的时候，他们会跟讲得很清楚，这个之前有哪个人做过。但是我们也许可以稍微改变它的风格啊之类这样，但最后通常这种状态还是都会被放弃。
Maybe just to add, so if it's really on an award basis, so if you want to have an award with this idea, or you see there's a similar idea done and got an award, so then you maybe be a bit more tough with yourself and really find a different execution or something that really differentiates it from your project. Maybe even completely changing the category and thinking in a different category. But having the same insight doesn't mean you have to kill your ideas. It's very, very often ideas based on the same insight, but the ideas are super different. So just try to figure out an execution or an angle that goes in a different way, but it needs to be significantly different.
那 Sandra 补充就是说，假设那个 idea 真的就被人做过的话，这时候你要对自己非常的这个严厉，就是你一定要找到让它就是可以不一样的一个执行方式，或者是说，它会运用到不同的专业类，比如说不是叫你们想不同的奖吗？就是它可能是一个什么的，但是它如果用到别的那个类的时候，它的可能就会不一样这样子。然后他说洞察一样的话，不必就这样杀掉，因为洞察什么都会一样。重点就是你要怎么样让它可以执行的不一样。
Right. Any more questions?
今天问问题的都是从台北下降到淡水来的。现在有一个我们淡水原生的。
I'm curious about how would you guys organize a daily workflow, and what's the difference between working as an employee and working as freelancer? Yes, that's the question.
How do we? Oh, you want?
我想问他们是说你们怎么去工作，你们每一天的工作流程，然后跟当一个自由的工作者跟当一个在别的公司上班的员工，那之间的差别是什么？
So structuring, so it depends a bit on what the brief is and what the actual job is we need to do as, let's say, from the perspective of freelancer first. So if we're booked as a team and we need to come up with concepts, our day is usually structured like we come up with, we work on ourselves on the idea. We just have both unique ways of thinking, and we just write down our ideas and based on the brief without talking to each other. And then around afternoon, we talk to each other and present each other our ideas first. And based on that, we just have already a feeling of what might be in there and what we can jump on which idea we can jump on from. Can I jump on from Toby, for example, if I see something and say, okay, that's interesting, I'm going to use that insight, but I have another idea on that. So from that angle, we start developing ideas, and then in the evening we talk again and see how it's developed. And usually the next morning, you already need to show the ideas to the creative director or the agency that booked you.
哦，就是像如果他们以前或现在都一样，不管是他们在公司里面或者是他们下 free 的时候都是一样。就是他们如果接到一个工作，首先他们比如说早上的时候，他们会先分别自己想来点，就是拼命想到那个量，然后午后之后呢，他们就是会跟他们说坐在一起，然后会就是讨论，比如说就决定。比如说他会跟 Toby 说，哪个，我觉得这个还不错，那我觉得他可以怎样怎样怎样这样，然后到了晚上就是，晚上怎样忘记了？对，然后因为通常是到第二天就要跟老板，或者是说像他们现在是 free， 就有人会定他们的时间嘛，那通常就是就是第二天就要跟人家报告，就是晚上就要大概要做 presentation 之类吧，对。
So at first it's basically just a brain dump. We just like everybody thinks by themselves and we throw it's not even ideas sometimes, it's just inside articles. I researched something, I found something. We throw everything on the table and then we sit together and try to sort it out and say like, okay, this is out, that doesn't make sense. And then we say like, okay, this could be interesting. And then we make a short list of things that we like. And then we kind of like very quickly then pick like our 3 favorites and then we go into execution. I write the text, Sandra does some visuals. Then we really go a bit apart again where we execute it and then it comes together. We usually work on shared documents on an online presentation.
这是 Toby 版本的，就是他说明是说，就是如果他们现在有工作的话，一开始就是说，先找一堆资料，然后想一堆 idea， 然后就进行刚刚的讨论，然后就选一些会深入执行的，然后他负责把那个就是文字写出来，然后伸手要做那个视觉这样。然后他们通常会用共用的档案夹来，就是共用文件来进行。
And in the agency, it's basically the same. It's just as freelancers, at least that's my feeling, you have to come up faster with things. So you have less time. Sometimes you're booked for 3 days or even 5 days is not enough to come up with like a bunch of ideas. And in the agency, when you're as a fixed employee, you get a bit more time, or there's also more people on it. And as freelancers, it's only just you. So it's a one-man band or two-man band.
那这个流程大概都是差不多的，但是就是像如果是自由接案的话，那因为人家可能每次都会跟你定3到5天啊，那其实你的动作必须更快，而且当就是做自由接案者的时候，就跟在公司不一样，因为在公司上班的时候，基本上就是team会大一点，就是旁边支持的系统的人会比较多，但是你是 freelancer 的话，就只有你们俩，或是只有你，因为他们也会分开接案。
So as a freelancer, it really helps if you've like worked in a couple of different agencies and a couple of different clients with different creative directors, because this is basically what you do as a freelancer. Every week you work with a different agency, different client, different background, different tonality, and with people that have a different taste and creativity. So you have to be quite flexible, because as a freelancer, it's not really that accepted if you say after a couple of days, sorry, I didn't come up with anything, or I don't know, I tried something and it didn't work. So you kind of have to make sure that after the time that you've booked, an acceptable, good outcome is on the table.
做 freelancer 有个很重要，做 freelancer 有些优点啊，像他们现在说他们要花一段时间，他们现在有跟我们说他们有拒绝一些工作机会，就是暂时不想去上班，因为在这个做这个自由接案过程中，基本上可以认识不同的公司的那个创业人，也可以认识不同的客户。那但是 freelancer 有一点很重要，就是你一定要有成果出来，因为你不可能说人家 就是跟你定了3天或5天，然后你在那结束的时候，对不起啊，我没有想出来 idea， 或者是我想出来 idea 就是不 work 这样。
You're welcome.
Should we call it a day? 就是很难得的机会，然后我们就是也下课了，然后讲师们大家看得出来也累了，这样对不对？然后有一些人被规定等一下带讲师去玩，给我留下来。对，然后那我们其他所有人，我们给我们这次远道而来的评审，他们明天就要回去了，给他们超级热烈掌声，好不好？
Thank you guys.
Also, thanks a lot to Jacqueline and also for translating everything on the spot.
Nice.
Amazing. Okay.
Nice.
You sit here.
啊，
然后大家尽量坐过来，好不好？